Hi everybody, welcome back. Welcome to the next episode of Random Encounter. The start of book 2. These guys have managed to move on through to the next part, and on to the next book. And I'm glad on a number of levels, if nothing else, because it means we're kind of getting into the higher level content, where they're going to have more abilities and more things that they can show off, and loads and loads of stuff coming up, which will really be exciting for them, I hope. But it also means that I get to start putting in more story for them and getting more things to cross their path that they're not quite expecting. Which is always fun. I always like adapting and changing things and adding things and manipulating stuff to be around the characters to a certain extent. I've already done it with effectively all 4 of them. Possibly Moz to a slightly lesser extent, in the fact that his has just been, there's one of those demon things in front of you. Enjoy. But everybody else has had a little bit of a play with their background or stuff that is important to them as a character. And I hope to keep on doing that. We are going to, however, pass it over to JJ for once again. We are going to mention a small company that we are effectively going to help support for a little bit. So, yeah.
So Aaron, I've known for a couple of years. You went through LARPs in the south, and then he moved across to one of the more larger festival-based systems. Has recently started up a small store by the name of Lux Games. You'll find him on Facebook, but we will direct you to luxgames.co.uk, which is his website. He sells a variety of plastic and metal dice, as well as some LED digital light-up ones, which, whilst pretty, are not as attractive to me, I'll be honest, as the metal chromatic set, which look like really heat burnished, and reflective and glowy. He is apparently getting some precious stone dice, which I'm looking forward to seeing when they come out. And I'm very much not saving my money for that. I'm saving my money for costumes, honest. But not only does he do that, but he sells through that website. He sells accessories like dice bags and things like that as well, so you can keep them all nicely, neatly separated. One of which I've got here, and which will look terrible on my tiny webcam. It's got a little dragon bag. It's nice to have little bags for your different dice sets. So I keep the plastic dice in there, and I keep the metal dice in different bags, so they beat each other up. Appropriate, they last longer. So yeah, luxgames.co.uk. He's got a variety in there. I think he's got a healthy number of like the Witcher style dice, so with scripture. Worth having a look.
Okay, thank you very much there, JJ. So, getting back into Abomination Vaults on Foundry, using some Sirenscape noises and all the rest of it, the sort of stuff that we have been doing for 64-ish episodes now. I always say 64-ish because I know we lost a whole bunch of them. So yeah, we've got a whole heap of stuff going on for you. They have had a conversation with a certain individual called Otari. Not the town. They've not been talking to the town. They've been talking to the actual Otari, the guy from several hundred years ago that was part of the Roseguard that killed Belcora the first time. And he has come to the conclusion that Belcora kind of anticipated this and set things in motion so that she could come back. And that's why everything is going on right now. To this end, he is well aware that there is a barrier in between the party and potentially the rest of this dungeon. And as such has noted that he has some sort of connection to that barrier, in that he thinks certain artifacts from the Roseguard will be able to disrupt the spell that effectively keeps it up and running, because it is kept up and running by all of Belcora's victims, not the people that defeated her. So if confronted with things that defeated her, he hopes the barrier will go down. That's what he hopes, anyway. As such,
so we must search the length and breadth of Equestria for them.
Well, yeah, as such, he has basically suggested that the group might need to go and find a few items. Yes.
Which am I? Do I have any thoughts based on what I know about my life, my history, what happened here, and my various bits of lore as to what's likely to happen to me with that barrier?
No, unfortunately, you're not entirely certain on that one. What I have done is I've actually moved the map over to the Otari map. This is on the basis of, realistically, unless somebody jumps in right now and says, stuff this, we're just going to go and kill the Void Glutton that we couldn't fight and kill before. I am under the assumption, I always do this, I always make a mistake of going under assumptions with this lot, but I'm under the assumption that you will be heading back to Otari to start trying to find out some information about where the hell these things might be and what the heck they're doing. Correct me if I'm wrong. Am I wrong? I'm always wrong. Well, let's try that again. Am I wrong about what you're going to do next?
I don't think so.
I don't think so, no.
Yeah, I didn't think that would be the case. So, there we are, guys. We'll drag, although I say we're going to drag everything over. There we are, it caught up in the end. So, we have the Otari map. It will take you quite a bit of time at the moment, although, because you've still not set up your teleportation circle. You've left that disconnected as it stands, and so you end up having to sort of walk around and up around and go up the various levels, use the elevator for a little bit of it just to kind of ease the burden slightly.
Given where we are, we would just need to walk up a thing, and then we've got that passageway back to the basement of the place.
Yes, there is that. Although you are well aware that at this point, the owner of that fishery has decided that wall needs blocking up. They're not too keen with adventurers periodically using it as a route in and out of a dungeon. They're not convinced by this.
We'll get some cart tracks laid, some mine cart tracks laid down, and be fine.
They can charge for the privilege and make a pretty penny on like ghoul rides. It's fine.
Oh dear. But yes, this is the sort of the general situation as it currently stands. So you do, but you're kind of, as you're walking up to it, you can see the builders sort of starting to put some bricks back into stones back into place and kind of look at you as you walk past.
Do they start bricking up faster when we when we start approaching them and don't make a decision yet?
For the love of God, Montresor!
But yes, you manage to get your way back. By the time you get back, it's actually because you went back to it, back to the tavern fairly recently, and then have just been down to talk to Otari, and it's like, I'm going to go all the way up, all the way back again. So it ends up being relatively late. It's quite dark. The various sorts of trips backwards and forwards and doing the fights and everything else, and then talking to Otari did take a bit of time. You emerge from the fishery. There's now started to be sort of like officials waiting at the door as you come back through, just sort of like militia guard kind of waiting for you to sort of check you over, make sure you're not ill, make sure you're not bringing anything in that you shouldn't. Okay, fine, good, right, they're all fine. Anything to declare. Any injuries that we need to quickly rush off to the thing. Any dwarves brought back from certain captivity. Do we have it?
What's our duty-free limit on dwarves?
It's 20%.
Of a dwarf.
Of a dwarf. 20% of a living dwarf is allowed for free. You have to pay for the extra 80%.
So what you're saying is, for 5 trips we go dwarf for free. We get a stamp in the book.
Five trips in, dwarf returned for free. Yes, that's how right. It's a coupon system.
Canon, folks. It's canon, the DM said
So yes, effectively, there's always somebody there just to run back to the guard and just say, "Yep, they've come back." This is kind of like a brief report of what they found. When you get up there and you start talking about what, because they're like, "Oh, you're back already. You've only been down there a few hours. Is everything all right? And what did you find?" And you go, "Well, we found Otari." I beg your pardon. There's a little bit of
Don't worry.
Yeah.
It's not a pocket-sized.
I reached into the back of holding. They found me.
Stop pulling out skeletons.
the skull.
Please tell me we packed him in the bag.
Well,
We want to give him a good burial here.
Yes.
So, you have the skull of the skeleton of Atari in a bag of holding. You pull piece by piece out and go, "There you go, we found Atari." Like, somebody go and get the High Cleric from the Dawn Flower Library. Okay, yes, fine. And is there anything you need? Is there anything you need us to do?
We need a book, a brooch, a knife, and that man's leg.
Oh, Rocket. For sake.
Okay.
Don't worry, I'm kidding about the leg. I'm kidding about the leg. It's actually that dwarf's tonsils, but we'll come back for that later.
The dwarf's tonsils. Are you sure?
You can go after those yourself.
Yeah. So those are down to you. I don't think anybody's bringing those ones back for you.
That's fair. That's fair. We might have to make do with other tonsils, and it might be a little bit ad lib.
Okay. So they kind of when they come back. Well, sorry, they start writing stuff down. And we go, okay, you need a brooch, a book, and a sword.
Quans.
Trained
I mean-
to build a candle, right?
I mean, any brooch, any book.
No.
No, that would be too easy, really, wouldn't it?
I mean, it would be a bit odd as well. Why? I mean, you don't. Anyway, yes.
Have any of your forebears or three bears ever been sent off on a noble quest from a being from beyond the grave that's hung around for a couple of centuries and has finally gotten good at a musical instrument?
I honestly, I honestly can't say that that's ever happened. No.
No, well, that one, and Moz points at the head held by... the head held by Phelan has said that we need to find some equipment from his former comrades, and quite possibly using his lockpicks as well. Go and do some sincere harm to Wakura.
Okay.
So...
Look, I'm going to be honest. Okay, I'm just an orderly at the guards station. I'm not sure I can help you much. But what I will say is if you did meet Otari himself and he's talked about getting certain items, and one of them includes a sword, and I'm gonna make a guess here. You might mean the sword of Rajani.
That's the one, the one the way we work together with it, yeah.
Yeah, the sort of cooperation. There's a slight problem there.
Oh.
Yeah.
This is my surprise first. This is Atari's surprise.
That's got to be a hero point.
Yeah. Well, okay. Yeah. Yes. Have a hero point. Oh boy. So. Yes. I've lost my track now. Yeah. There has been a bit of an issue. In so much as, well, the sword itself was on display. It's been on display for some time at where at the Dawnflower Library. Well, it's kind of been stolen.
Neffy.
Just last night.
Last night.
You'd gone before we could. I mean, yes, you were in town actually. Where were you?
Hey. Can't be being accused of this. Here I am trying to save the town.
Honestly, I'm just trying to consider the people who are skilled enough that might have the means to
Stop trying
get
to speak
into
talk
the.
me.
You're just
Don't
proactively
compliment
collecting the items. You know how it is when you find something before the quest pops.
To be honest with you, you have talked just now about needing the sword. So,
If we needed it, we wouldn't have stolen it and then come and asked about it. That makes no sense. We'd either have stolen it or asked about it.
Neffy sat on the floor in a huff.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I can't really.
Oh,
say.
come on, Neffy, cheer up. Yes, come on, Neffy, cheer up.
Can't here.
Calling it.
Making points in performance and syllogism.
Yes. There's just no way out of this, is there really, at the moment? It's just the way it is.
Oh, we've got one joker and we've got a thief. It's all good.
Oh dear. Oh,
Now we
dear.
need some Cylons.
That's the one.
Okay.
If Tricia Helfer and Lucy Lawless want to rock up and join in.
I'm into
Oh
this.
dear. Oh dear. Right. Anyway, yes. So the brooch. That might be something that the mayor keeps hold of still. I know he donated the sword to the library. He believed it was more of the sort of sign that people would recognise rather than really caring too much about a brooch. You know, people get behind a sword. So he might have the brooch. I mean, I don't really know much about books, to be fair. It's not my thing, so I don't know on that one. But my guess is it's something related to the Roseguard, because the other items that you mentioned are related to the Roseguard. So, yeah. I should probably head back to the captain.
That's probably a very good idea.
Okay. Glad you're doing well. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Don't find us, we'll find you.
Okay, I think I've played out the skull ventriloquism joke to the last dreg. And as a druid, I should not be beating dead horses.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Oh dear, dear, dear.
Just consenting live ones.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. What do you want to do? I mean, it's late. You could go to bed. This is certainly an option.
If there's been some kind of robbery in town, and there's no pistols been found. It seems like our usual haunt would be an ideal place to drop a medium-sized bag of money and ask a couple of delicate questions that, along the lines of, we'd like it back, we don't mind where it went, or you can just tell us where it went and we'll get it.
Mm-hmm.
Or is that a little bit too proactive?
No, that's fine. You'd definitely be able to do that. Yeah, you're talking about the Crook's Nook, are you? Where there's a certain amount of. Okay, yeah.
Individuals inclined towards personal
Individuals
funds.
inclined. So you head into the Crook's Nook, yeah. Could you please make a diplomacy roll? Seeing as this is your idea to start with, I'm assuming Moz is going in totally owning this action.
Could I
Yes,
negotiate?
let Moz do it.
Could you negotiate?
Could I negotiate that whilst I am not diplomatic, we have been hanging around long enough that I could use a little bit of society instead to pick the right person out of the hierarchy of scum and villainy to pitch this question out.
No. I'm going to go with you're already using your society to work that out. This is now just how much he's managing to fleece you for potential information.
So that was an argument for attempting for +10. Instead, we've got an argument for +0. Okay, I'll take that instead. I don't know if that's in my favour or not, though.
Go on.
It's a natural 20.
It's a natural 20. Oh, fair enough then. Okay. It takes... How do I put this? You are invited to sit at a table of somebody that you believe might have some information. And it only takes you a few minutes to realise that he knows absolutely nothing. And his dropping hints and asking for 15 gold, 20 gold if you want the whole thing, he's actually talking an absolute layer of horseshite that he is trying to heap on you in this moment. The other person, however, that does notice, and this is the natural 20 has helped here because you needed a 20 or higher to succeed at this check, with your +0, so your natural 20 was the only way that this was going to happen, is a certain bar owner. Yin Yasmira comes over.
The person we should have talked to initially.
Probably should have been the first person to have talked to. Comes over and just says, now then, lovely people that you are. I think you shouldn't be treating my customers like this in any way, shape or form. After all, we can give them everything they want for a bit of a special fee. If they perhaps put 10 gold on the table for just rounds for the house and a little bit of food, then I'm sure just me and my little bit of contacts will be enough for you. What do you say, darlings?
I don't think it hurts to share a little bit of largesse, because we've been doing okay in our pursuits.
Well, indeed. You are, after all, our local heroes. And we wouldn't want to take too much of a cut, would we? And she's staring at this guy that's been trying to fleece you. After all, it's not good to take things out of our own backyard, now is it? And the guy kind of... Yeah, a round would be nice. And then turns and sort of slides his chair over slightly to the side. Yin Yasmira looks at you. Go on.
Yes, I'm sure we can fund 10 gold pieces from the party loot.
Do have
Look.
a little bit of straight gold spare, definitely.
I know who did it. I know quite a lot about it, if I'm honest. And quite frankly, I'm actually more than happy for this to have escalated now to this point, because my good graces have been taken too much of an advantage of. You see, Blade of Cooperation is a big deal, yeah? And as I said, we don't take from our own backyard. But there's somebody in this town who thinks they've got a bit more right to this sort of stuff than any of the rest of us, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Carmen's been missing since last night. And be he a good blacksmith or not, he thinks he's got a right to that sword, and he thinks he's got a right to this town, and he thinks by taking both of them, or taking one of them, he'll have both of them. So, if you want to find that sword, just, there's a little refuge just out of town. Been a bit of smuggling done there every now and again, if you know what I mean.
Nothing wrong with a little free trade.
It encourages honesty amongst the rest of us.
Well, indeed. I reckon you'll probably find Carmen there, and I reckon you'll probably find the sword there with him. But you didn't hear that from me.
Of course we didn't.
No.
Is it the kind of walk that the town guard would normally take, or is it normally a little bit too far out of their purview?
Town guard probably wouldn't know a thing about it, and I'd prefer it to stay that way if you don't mind.
No, it's absolutely fine. It's just fine. Making sure we've got the right excuse for walking that way.
Oh, I mean, you guys are the heroes of the town. You can probably walk wherever the heck you want. If you told anybody that you're going back to the vaults and you found another way in, after all, you found one in through the fish market, so I'm pretty much certain they'll be glad if you turn around and said, yeah, there's another one of those entrances, it's way out of town and we won't be bothering you anymore. I think they'd love it.
Like I say, we're much obliged to you. It's going to be very useful.
Yeah, it's just as I said.
Or not, as of course.
Yeah, exactly. You didn't hear now from me really at all.
Well, that sets us on a route, possibly the small of the morning. What are the rest of you folks thinking?
Thinking about
Whoa.
rest before we do anything.
Oh, she did. The Unius Mirror just sort of stopped just as she's walking away. Just a small note for you, by the way. Just a little bit of a for your information. The head priestess of the Dawnflower Library, Vandy. She's all red-faced and red of rage about what's happened. If you wanted to have a little bit of a good graces with the little halfling, I'd imagine bringing back a pretty sword that somebody nicked from them. She might go for that. I'd imagine if you could possibly bring the thief back for a little bit of a trial, might also appease her quite a bit. Just if you're thinking.
Very useful to know. I'm glad you specified for trial because it answers the second question I was going to ask.
Yeah, I mean, don't kill the locals if you can help it. Yeah.
Yeah, so much as there are undercurrents potentially to every bit of water as a civilization, it doesn't hurt to reinforce that sometimes the two need to keep a little bit of sensible separation. But yeah, keeping them coming back, keeping in one piece and coming back would be useful. I don't think
mean-
it's been tearing apart locals, so
One piece and breathing is generally the suggestion.
I'm sure I've got a stout stick as opposed to a sharp stick.
If you haven't got one, I'm sure we can find one for you.
The right number of holes. Okay.
I know what to have a badger sit on.
Anyway, that's information that you heard on the wind, yeah?
Oh.
Absolutely.
I'll be serving that round now then.
Absolutely. Yep.
Should provide some coinage.
Get that out of the way back.
What you kind of sit there, and after a while you realise there's no round coming round, and there are patrons sat at the bar going, "She's not bringing anything round, is she? No."
No. Well, a bit of a nap and an early morning rise to make sure we catch the individual by surprise, or do we want to dip our Dawnflower library and find out what's going on and then apprehend the individual as opposed to jumping to the end point first?
I would suggest we don't delay. If he'd nicked it yesterday, he's got plans.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, I'm reasonably well charged at the moment.
Same.
How are you feeling, Neffy?
Yeah, I can be up for that. I have a feeling I'm down a few hit points. Yeah, I'm down like 12 hit points, so yeah, fine.
Well, let's. It's certainly been long enough that I can.
Do some medicing, right?
Do some medicing, and that's 8.
Thank you.
Just as a note, the stuff from Otari is in the loot bag as well, should certain people want to acquire themselves a dagger. Although the dagger might not be the best choice right now.
The sneaky key should probably go to the road, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
The sneaky key
What,
on
because
the
your
road.
boy's just going to stab things?
The sneaky key is awesome.
Yes.
Can any of us cast the paralyzed one? Is that me?
I think the scrolls none of you could cast, that was the problem.
Paralyzes arcane and occult. Comprehend languages is divine, arcane, divine, and occult.
Comprehend language, I can.
Yeah, you can do comprehend language potentially.
I thought I had some spells. Not this character. This one's divine. Yeah. Okay, that'll be why it's still there.
Yep. Okay. So are you planning to go straight off then? Is this the intention?
I think so.
I think the armor was useful.
Okay.
I think so.
Um,
Give or take. Involve trying on the armor.
can I wear that armor? Or are we going to sell it?
Are you equipped for light armor?
As in, can I wear it?
Are you trained for light armor? Yeah.
That's what I'm asking.
You are
It's on
not
your-
trained for light armor.
No.
You are unarmored only.
Which is why I don't have it already. Yep, fine. So we should probably sell the stuff that we're not using as well while we're here. But
I
let's
mean,
pick up the
that's
thief
the morning
first.
I can wear the studded leather if no one else is going to wear it.
Are you
I can get
got
rid
the
of my-
appropriate you've got the appropriate strength and stuff.
Yeah, I
Um,
believe so.
yeah.
So they can
'Cause
use light
I'm
armor
wearing
anyway.
normal leather at the moment. Yeah.
Because it's studded, so I can't wear it.
Because it's got metal in it.
Yeah. So otherwise, we'd be moving the potency rune across.
Hmm.
I mean, we could theoretically put the potency rune on Invar's explorer's clothing.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Wait, yeah. I
It's
forgot
so
we could do that for
squishy.
extra clothing. Yes.
I'd
Let's
like
do
to not
that.
be squishy.
Okay,
Okay, let's do
well,
a crafting project as well then.
yeah.
Fair enough. So, based on
Thank you.
that, what is the current plan for tonight?
Go
Oh.
grab the guy.
Go grab the
A
guy.
genteel walk out into the darkness, coming back with an oink.
Okay.
We should go out for a stroll. Just a little stroll, a bijou strollette.
That's fair enough. Let me just check the old description. Make sure this isn't like miles away, and I'm telling you fibs that you can get to it today. Only about an hour outside of town, so pretty reasonable to be fair. It is a relatively short walk. It's just a short walk across the forest, north of an abandoned fish camp. It would normally be viewed as being too far inland for transporting heavy cargo. However, it is useful for smugglers to carry light goods. Okay, let's.
And we do know that you know there was a smuggler's cave that was accidentally full of drake and a way into the bottom of the tower, so it's a reasonable place to look.
Okay then, right. Well, let's activate a new scene then. A new little bit of stuff for you guys to have a look at, and what we'll do, we'll get rid of some of the Otari noises, like the marketplace and the sea itself and the gulls. They can clear off right now. Instead, we'll just have a little bit of the sort of general nice outdoor noises. Maybe not the water, now that I think about it. They said that there wasn't any water, didn't they? So, yeah, let's just go. Let's see, do we have any just generic music? Of course we don't. Why would we have generic music? That would be far too sensible. Okay, we'll just kill the music for this bit. We will. Okay. So yes, as you start to approach the sort of cave area, what you do note is a small campfire just on the outside. It looks like obviously somebody's tried to start bedding down for the night. They're using the outside as a place to sort of cook food and prep things and have their meals. But the glow from it is more embers now. Somebody hasn't put out somebody isn't trying to hide where they are. Probably because they don't expect anybody to show up here. So that they've not bothered to sort of cover themselves. But you can see a cave opening in front of you. Relatively large. It's a good sort of 10, 15 foot across. You can easily all fit into the sort of space of it. I will say for right now, it is done at the moment without a grid. Do people want me to put the grid on it? Or are they happy? Because it's easy
okay
to
with
put a
this.
grid.
Scale. Okay.
Okay, we'll leave it without then for now. If you need it, then give me a shout. It's easy to fix. So yeah, that's what you can kind of see at the moment.
Is it a safely banked fire for the night, or has it been, oh crap, people are coming, I'm just going to scooch?
No, it's safely done. It doesn't look like anybody's been out here like super recently to have seen you guys coming.
Moz will have tied a set of belting around his halberd and will have drawn out a heavy heavy kosh for this occasion.
Okay. Phelan's going to whistle to Olerin. So Olerin's going to scoot around here and hide behind this bush.
Is it worth me doing the echoing weapon thing before we get started?
I don't know.
No,
Not with this one, I don't think.
I'm tempted to visit Rin's and see if there are more useful spells that I can perhaps learn in place of that one at an appropriate point. Gets considerably less use than I felt that it might. Okay, so we won't do that then.
Right. Are you sneaking, stomping in? What's the plan?
Sneak!
Moz is kind of hanging back to allow other people to sneak forward and do a bit of recce. So he's sitting back and looking just in case, but more a case of looking for hidden things maybe on the entrance.
Or is skirting round the firelight and then largely following the badger, I think.
So we'll go with effectively I'm going to do stealth rolls for you. But I'm aware of who's at the front and who isn't, so that will give us a little bit more time and options. Okay. It's probably a good job that Moz is at the back looking at these rolls. So yeah, Moz, your armor is, you've obviously slightly hastily put your armor back on. It's not as quiet as you would like it to be. But you are nearer the back. So, yes, you do see a cave entrance ahead of you. And you are more than welcome to keep proceeding in until such point as you want to stop, or I tell you you're getting a bit too bloody close.
Moz is going to be like 2 tactical bounds behind Neffy, being the probably lightest footed.
Mm-hmm.
But still walking through the firelight.
No, well, yeah, that's true.
Yep. I mean, Phelan's technically one of the stealthiest people you've got as well.
You're really sneaky type.
But most of you are relatively sneaky. Okay. As you start getting forwards, what I will say is obviously your dark vision really, really helps you here. And you are going to, and this is the big benefit of this, you are going to see Carmen
I do.
way before he's got a chance to. Not only were you stealthy enough that he didn't hear you, but he does not have dark vision. He does not have low light vision. He's just using normal human sight. So actually, for a very, very long distance, you can't be seen by him anyway. Doesn't matter what happens.
So, as soon as I see him, stop Neffy and communicate that he's over there.
Okay. So, nice simple description of this space. Rotted crates, forgotten clothes and other debris suggest this cave is occasionally used but rarely cleaned. A cold campfire surrounded by logs sits at the cave's centre. Faint smells of mildew and smoke hangs in the still air. In addition to that, Carmen appears to be completely unaware that you are there. He sits on a cot near the fire, chewing on some dried fish and turning the cooperative blade over and over in his hands while he seems to be thinking to himself.
So, of course, what we didn't do was have any kind of plan before we went in. The plan extended to don't kill him, try not to make any extra holes.
Wait, I
Is it
didn't
now
agree
a
to that
wibbly-
bit of the plan.
An outcome more than a plan.
I was going to say, is this now the wibbly wobbly bit where we go and and just like jump back in
Right,
time
right
20
back.
You're
minutes
not
as we're
playing.
walking
You're
back
not
up here.
playing. No,
No.
you're not playing Blades in the Dark. I am not allowing this. This is, as much as I want you
Damn it.
guys to play Blades in the Dark with me, this is not Blades in the Dark, and so you
Like-
can't do wibbly wobbly timey wimey. But you do know
I want.
that
Mhm.
he hasn't spotted you, so you do have the option of just backing out for a bit and making your plan.
Fact, yes. I'm going to gesture to
We
Neffy that we're going to go
back
out and have a conversation, and you know.
So how many holes can I put in him?
None.
He stole from the town. He's not allowed to do that.
He might not have
And
been in his
there are-
right mind.
Judges and juries who will determine the consequences of
And
that. Our
I am
instructions.
both.
So, when did you want to join up? Because I love the enthusiasm.
Don't judge. I've always wanted to join. Let me in their cool club.
And anyway, the judge and the jury may well decide to put holes in him. And, you know, if you volunteer for town citizenship, maybe, or you like civil
Yeah.
service roles, you could be the
Service
person
guarantee
putting holes in
citizenship.
people. That's it.
My issue is I can't be in the official record, so I'd have to change my name, and I don't want to do that.
Thus are the joys of civilization.
Ugh. People.
Mm.
And also
Oh.
how Neffy feels about it.
It is very well lit in there. I'm going to guess he probably can't see very well, if at all, unlike the rest of us. I'm going to sketch a map on the ground, basically.
Mhm.
Kind of showing where the corridor is, where the turn is, and the space.
Yeah.
And then basically look at mods for tactics. So what do we do?
Well, the short version of what I'm thinking is the sneaky ones go in the front, and if at all possible, bum rush him and clobber him into the ground before he has a chance to do anything smart. Because otherwise, if we make any decent amount of noise, he's probably going to try and arm up and try and fight his way out. And unless, you know, Phelan, Neffy, you're sneaky enough to blend in and ambush him on the way out, we might have to do more than, you know, softly smacky monkey around there.
So I could probably sneak round to the corner and then drop my sound burst on him and see if that does anything. That's just going to do damage rather than restraining him, so that's probably less useful.
Yeah, this is why I'm not suggesting just pitching a fireball down there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I could blind him, but it wouldn't necessarily gain us much.
It would.
Okay. Do that.
How long does he stay blind for?
About a minute.
Well, in that case, then go as close as you can.
Or possibly less, depending on how good he is at resisting stuff. But
Get as close as you can, drop that on him, and in the confusion, run up to him and smack him on the back of the head.
I'll let Neffy do the smacking part.
I will lend Neffy my sap.
Sir
Is that-
Joshua Blunt Instruments' finest.
Yes.
no fun.
Here, borrow this. I would like it back afterwards.
Oh, hey, that's the point. GM,
It's in the loot bag. Grab it out.
if
Oh,
I
cool.
blind him, I presumably can't glare at him to demoralise him. I'd
Yeah,
have to
correct.
actually.
You'd have to use words.
Okay.
yes. I'm sorry. I'm not allowing that one. No. If you made the poor boy blind, you can't then just stare at him and hope that he gets intimidated by it.
I just thought I thought that'd be the answer, but I wanted to check.
It'll turn into an awkward silence, and he wouldn't know what he's done. You know.
Okay. Then.
Okay, so fine. I shall go and attempt to blind him with Neffy. So if I go down the bottom edge,
Mhm.
so I've got a clear line of sight, and Neffy, you sneak along the top to where your corner comes in. I think that probably
Yeah.
puts you closer when it comes to then
Okay.
trying to get at him.
Sounds good.
And me and Olarin will come up to just before that corner,
Mhm.
because we're relatively stealthy. And Moz, if you wanna sort of backstop the entrance,
Absolutely. And as you guys go sneaking in, I'll use some of this climbing gear that I've got to put a nice long trip rope across the mouth of it, so that when if he comes hoofing out at speed, he might go feet first.
That's fair enough. Do you just want to do a survival roll for me just to see how good that is?
Yeah. Sure. What's my survival again? I don't. Is it survival? Can't see it. Oh, +1. Oh yeah. Come on, red dice. As he looks at it, as he puts together, it's a pitiful attempt at a natural 1, so he just leaves it where it is.
Okay.
Sneak a bit
So,
closer.
Neffy, you would need to move further back from that. You would then be stepping into the light at about that point. I know you
So about
can't
there.
see because your dark vision kind of just goes, it's all fine. But no, you'd be in the
Yeah,
the
'cause
visual
that
light
one
sort of
movement,
thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Halberd. He'll
So-
draw his halberd and use the blunt end rather than the.
Okay. So I'm going to
So
do
I
this
am-
completely out of combat because effectively he has no idea. There's nothing.
Surprise round!
It's less a
Awesome!
surprise. It's less a surprise round. It's more. No, once
An
this is
ambush.
once this is cast, I will then immediately do initiative. That's how I'm going to do it. But I'm going to allow the cast to technically happen out of the combat rounds, rather than having people have to decide if they're waiting or not. So, what needs to happen for a blindness check then?
DC 21 fortitude save, please.
DC 21 fortitude save. Okay, so he has a +13. And that is a 7 on the dice for a 20.
He is blinded for a whole minute.
Okay, we have blinded for a whole minute.
but
Right.
loose like a deuce, another runner in the night.
Okay.
No, that was me, Neffy.
Well,
Or
no.
do you want me to take a whole round? Or
Effectively, you take a whole round.
so in that case, I'm going to move closer because it's a 2. Oh
Well-
no, this is what I'm asking. How many? It's a 2 action cast.
I would
Have I
say
got another action?
effectively, no, you don't have another action.
Right.
The idea is you've moved up close enough and cast the spell. Effectively, what is the end of the first turn is how I'm viewing it, and then we'll roll the initiatives and everything else. However, as you cast the spell and as it hits him full on, and he's sort of stuck there, this is what I will say will happen. He will drop the fish. He shouts, sort of with his hand out in front of him, "This is my sword by right." And that's where we're going to end the episode.
Oh,
Because, we'll have to see how this goes. But we'll do it in the next one. So, for the time being, thank you very much, everybody. Hope you've enjoyed it so far. The beginning of this episode, there's moments in this I think I'm just going to remember for quite some time. So, God damn it. Bye-bye, players.
bye bye,
Bye, players.